Hello there. This is Andrew Colsky from Stop My OCD, and I'm very excited today because we have a new author, Willie Wood, who is joining us to talk about his new book, My First Game Day. So, Willie, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Good afternoon. Thanks, Andrew, for having me. That's the first thing. My name is Willie Wood. Like you said, I'm the author of the new release book, My First Game Day. It is based on my grandson overcoming the fears of his first game day, his first flag football game. It came out in December the 18th, so it's been out about 8 months now, and is doing extremely well.
Great, great. So, initially, the way that I found you to even be doing this interview is we were talking about how, anxiety is a big thing for a lot of people. And kids, especially when you've got little league type of kids, even high school kids, and they're going to be going to their first game day and all the things that are going through their mind and the anxiety related to that. So tell us about your experience with kids who are new to a sports game, whatever the sport may be, and what you've seen through your experience.
Well, I've been officiating the game of basketball for about 20 years, a little over 20 years. So I've seen kids go from 7, 6, 7, 8 year olds all the way to high school and college as well. And I've followed the development with kids. So it's always an anxiety in terms of playing sports and things of that nature. Um, I wanted to concentrate in this book. It was based on my grandson overcoming the fears of his first game day. So we went through the process of preparation, of how he prepared and how he his fears and the things that he did to prepare um, to overcome those type fears for his first game day. And it's a great children's book, and it's written in rhyme, and it's based on I say it's up to the age, I would say up to 8 years old. 5, 6, 7 year olds would be in the process of trying to read the book, depending upon their reading level. 7 to 8 year olds should be able to read it themselves, or either older kids would be able to read it to their young siblings. So it's a great example of just following a little kid, starting from practice, preparation, and being prepared, and overcoming the fears of the anxiety and fears of a first game day.
That's great. Well, I like the idea that, not only is it a book about your first game day and the anxiety related to it, but the fact that it's designed for the age where the kids can be learning to read it themselves. So they're not only learning the lesson from the book, but they're also using it as a way to learn to read. And even for like older brothers and sisters to read it to their, younger siblings, helping them both in that way to learn to read, but also to learn the skills. So, tell me about your grandson in particular. Was there a particular fear or fears that he had that made him anxious before he got to his first game day?
Well, I think Landon. His name is Landon. I think any kid that age, and this was his first flag football team, his first opportunity to play on a team. So the anxiety is the crowd, the the playing time, the scoring, the doing your best, the winning or losing, things of that nature, and just being a part of. I think the beauty of it is just being a part of a team. Um, the anxiety part of it is that he had never been on a team before. But I think the most important part was that he had an opportunity to wear a uniform, an opportunity to practice, an opportunity to prepare, and an opportunity to go out there and basically have fun in the game of football while, overcoming those fears of how it would be the next day.
Mm-hmm. So was this book out before he actually had his first game day, or did this book come out after that?
Good question. The book came out in December. I think they started in October. So it came out towards the end of his season.
Okay.
So he, towards the end of the season, the book came out and the team was able to see the book in its completion. And he was able to share it with his teammates by the end of the season. So it's pretty much it was a perfect timing in terms of something is like that we gifted to the team, so that they can have something to share and be a part of and read about a kid their age playing flag football, which it was during the season in which they actually played that first game day. So that kind of worked out.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, that raised another question for you. I'm curious, did he know that you were working on writing this book, or did he only find out after you had completed it?
Well, no, Andrew, he was living with us at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we were reading a lot of books at the time. And it was almost like a goal of mine to say, because we're reading and we're doing a whole lot of, learning and development, things of that nature. And I just said to myself that I could write a children's book, and then it was almost like a goal of mine that I'm going to write a children's book. So him and I just kind of put our heads together and we came up with a storyline, his story, and he was a part of the process from beginning to end. So if you ask him about it, it's his book. He's on the cover, and he doesn't know any other kid in first grade that has a book with their picture on the cover.
Right.
So in his world, it's his book that he wrote and he wants to share with the world.
That's beautiful. Can you show the cover again now that we know he's on
Yeah.
the cover?
Uh, can you
Is
see it?
that
I don't
you?
know the angle. That's my son,
That's your
and
son.
that's him and his son. Yeah. So I wanted to. Um, that's that's my son and my grandson. So I
Beautiful.
wanted to honor the relationship between my son and his son. And because he spends a lot of time with them, we all do, but they have a great relationship, a great father and son relationship. And I wanted to honor that on the cover,
Mm-hmm.
with the picture of my son and my grandson on the cover, as opposed to putting me on the cover, um, just to honor their relationship as father and son, because they it's special, and they work hard with each other and have a special relationship.
Wow. So what does your son think of the book?
Well, he loves it as well. I mean, it's really like a family. We wanted to be like a family piece, that a family legacy piece that we can keep in the family for forever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always going to be your first game day, be it every season, every sport, every year. You're going to have your first game day, so it's always going to be relevant, and it's always going to be kids, and it's just something that we can pass down from generation to generation to say that we have this book in the family and it's available to not only us, but it's available to the world to enjoy, and have a lot of meaning to it, and just enjoy the actual book, My First Game Day.
Mm-hmm. So, we've talked about the fact that your grandson was sort of the driving force behind this, and that's what was on
Mm-hmm.
your mind as you were putting it together. But correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming this book is just as good for young girls as it is for young boys.
Right, because like I said, sports are sports. So you have the girl side, boy side, and athletics are, for males and female as well. Um, One may look at it as a boys' book because it's football, it's flag football. But in terms of the response from the public, the little girls have enjoyed the book, especially the illustrations and the colors and reading and all of that type stuff. They've enjoyed the book just as well as little boys.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, you and I had an opportunity to talk before the interview, and you
Mhm.
told me that you have always been involved with a lot of little league sports, in
Mhm.
addition to the coaching that you're doing of the high school basketball. what, you know, if a new parent were watching this video and they haven't had the opportunity yet to have a kid go through joining their first sports team, what type of things would you say that you've seen as someone involved with little kids and little league and sports? What type of issues do kids normally worry about?
Well, good question. I think the most important thing that I would share with the parent would be just have the kids participate on a team. Start with participating on a team, because that's the most important thing in terms of sportsmanship and confidence and having some level of responsibility, learning plays and going over different things in terms of trying to win a contest with a football game. But the most important thing is just being on a team, because for kids at that age, they just want to have a jersey on. They want to have a jersey on to be a part of a team and have games to play on Saturdays. And in terms of the self-esteem that it builds for the kids, it's awesome for them. And then you
Right.
start them at a lower level, and instead of you teaching wins and losses, you teach participating, having fun, and enjoy yourself in the game of basketball, football, baseball, or whatever the sport that they participate in. But just enjoying the sport and being a part of a team. And that's the most important part that I would share with parents. Just have the kids enjoy being on a team.
Yeah, sort of that community, that belonging.
That
It's so
belonging is a
important for
part.
all of
Yeah,
us.
that's important. Hmm.
So I'm going to guess that probably for you, when you were a little kid, did you play Little League?
Absolutely. I played baseball, basketball, and football in Little League.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can empathize with them, not only sympathize with them, but I can empathize with them because I was there. I've been in their shoes, and I can understand how they feel, because I played at their younger age as well, and I know
Mm-hmm.
how important and how fun it was, and I know what it did for me in terms of my confidence, and how it built me in terms of being competitive, and in terms of being a part of a team and learning how to win, learning how to good sportsmanship, um, and all the things that being a part of a team, gives you at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
And parents are starting to put kids on teams as early as 5 years old. I mean, so you can start as early as 5. So it's a long process from 5 years old to say high school at 18. But
Sure.
it's rewarding. It's definitely rewarding.
So can you remember back to how old you were when you first joined your first team, and what kind of team was it?
I think I was 8 years old, Andrew. I think I played little league baseball.
Mm-hmm.
At 8 years old, I remember getting my first glove and being on the team, getting my first uniform, having a coach, having my parents not coach me and teach me, but dropping me off with my real coach, and having a team and uniform, and understanding that we're competing against other teams in the league. And, it's just that whole realm of being a part of something greater than just your individual self.
Mm-hmm. No, so when you started off, on your own for that first game, I don't even
Hmm.
know. Did you have any siblings or friends who had already been on teams that were providing you any guidance?
No, not at that time. I mean, my sister, I went from baseball to football. And then when I played football, my sister was a cheerleader. So she was on the cheering squad.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a family outing. But initially, I didn't know anyone, and that's a social aspect too. When you go out participating on a team, not knowing anyone, and you have to build camaraderie with people that you don't know, that don't look like you, or don't live in your same neighborhood and not your friends, and you have to go through the process of understanding others and sportsmanship and collaborating and sharing ideas and realizing that people are different, and you have to find a way to fit in and find a way to help each other, and things of that nature. So you learn a lot in developing early with sports.
Mhm. So, and this may be an unfair question, and let me know if it
Uh-huh.
is, but so when you started your very first game day of your very first game, can you
Yeah, here we go.
remember? Did you have any particular anxiety about it?
That is an unfair question, Andrew. That takes me back almost 50 years, Andrew. But um, I can't remember exactly how I felt, but I'm sure, just like any other kid, I was excited to put on that uniform and go out and play the next day. Win or
Mhm.
lose, just go out and compete against my team because we practiced hard, we worked hard, we went over skills, we went over plays, we went over all the things you need to do in order to win the contest. But it was just a matter of enjoying that next day because it was my first game day.
Right. Well, clearly it had an impact on you, because if you went on to do little league coaching and the referee work that you do now, and working with
Mhm.
your own grandson, and having the wherewithal to write a book about it, obviously it's got an impact, a positive impact on your life, and now a
Mhm.
positive impact on both your son and your grandson, as well as anyone who reads the book. So, that's must be a good feeling.
Yeah, that was the goal. The goal was to create a book that you could share with not only your family and friends, but share with kids all over the world. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's always going to be my first game day. Every sport, every year, every season, regardless of how old you are, you can be 50 years old, and if you still participate in sports, you're going to have my first game day coming up. NFL football, my first game day is coming up. So it's always going to be anxieties, whether you're 5 years old or you're 25 years old, what have you. It's going to be anxieties about overcoming the fears of your first game day. And I think we've captured that in this book on a 6, 7, 8 year old level. That's pretty impressive, and I think the kids will get a lot of benefit from reading the book.
Mm-hmm. So can you uh, hold up the book again and just kind of like show the inside? I want people to see that it's full color all the way throughout. So if you open, up to
Open the
some of
book,
the
yeah.
internal page, yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
Because it's got beautiful graphics and design, and it's full color throughout. So it really is engaging for anybody who's reading it.
Yeah, right. Here's an example of one of the pages in the book, and one of the things of what the feedback, positive feedback that we've gotten is that people love the illustrations,
Mm-hmm.
and kids they kind of gravitate to illustrations and the colors and the different activities within the book is full color, is bright, is colorful, and it has a lot of meanings in it. I mean, you read the book, but then you have things that you pick up like hard work pays off, um, getting a good night's sleep, uh, eating a good breakfast, friendship, sportsmanship, visualization is in the book. Um, Competing against is a twist in the book where he's competing against one of his best friends.
Mm.
The never give up. It's enjoying the game, and then after the game, we still enjoy each other's companies as friends. So it's a lot of lessons within the book that kids can pick up reading the book that I think adds value to anyone that wants to pick up a great children's book.
Right, right. So, you mentioned before how your grandson sees this as his book, and
Exactly.
that's a fantastic confidence builder. So I'm
Mhm.
curious, is he out there hustling, selling the books too?
Well, glad you mentioned that, Andrew. He has sold a number of books because, um, like for example, we had a guy that came in, a cable guy who
Mm-hmm.
came in to do some work at the house, and my grandson was here, and the first question he asked me was, "Papa, do you think he has our children's book?" do you think he bought the book already? I was like, well, and I don't know if he bought the book or not, but you can certainly, we can certainly ask him. So we was talking about him. He ended up having kids um, on around that same age. And then Landon ran in the room and got the book and came out with the book. And then we have some other merch that we have with the book as well. And he ended up buying a couple books for his kids, his son and daughter. So he's excited about his book and selling the book and getting the book out to as many kids as possible.
Fantastic. I think that's such a huge confidence builder for a young kid, and he's got to be so proud of being on the cover in full color, right?
It's his book. It's him on the cover. So I mean, how many kids you get an opportunity to say, I have a book out and I'm on the cover?
Right.
And this is forever. This is something that he'll have for his kids and so on and so forth. So we're pretty proud of it, Andrew.
Yeah, well, and you should be proud of yourself as well for coming up with the idea and then having the wherewithal to stick through it and make it happen. And here you are, out there with your own book, which is wonderful. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I told you I'm going to be purchasing a copy of the book myself for my own library.
Okay, I appreciate it.
The big thing for me is because there's a lot of kids out there who do have anxiety about that first game day. And it is important that not only they get the chance to talk with their parents about it, but having a book like this that they can use to practice their reading and also learn about the skills they need for that first game day. It's a big help for the parents on how to address that particular issue. So, if I were to ask you sort of, one main piece of advice that you could offer to parents who had a kid that was going to be, joining their very first game day, whether it be football or, soccer or whatever it is, what would be the one thing that you want to make sure that they know?
Well, I think, like I said before, the most important thing is participating. Before there can be a middle or an inevitable end to anything, there must first be a beginning. So in the beginning, you just want your kid to be a part of something outside themselves. And you'll be surprised how much leverage you have with the kid doing homework and making up his bed and doing what he's supposed to do in class and all of those type things when they have a game on Saturday. So the most important thing is to get your kid active in some type of team activity or individual activity or something that just keeps them active, and they're not on the video game in the basement playing video games all the time, but they're part of a team, part of something greater than themselves, and it builds so much character and so much joy, especially little kids growing up, just trying to emulate what they see on athletes on TV.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I encourage, anyone watching this, whether you be a parent, whether you're a grandparent, whether you have friends that have a little kid, if you know of a kid that's getting ready to join their first game day, or even if they've already done their first game day, this is certainly a great reminder for them. And it's a great book to learn to read from as well. So down below this video in the information below, there will be a link of how you can get to purchase this book as well. I encourage you to do so, and leave comments and all after you purchase it. Let everyone know what you think about the book. I think you'll be very pleased, and like I said, the illustrations with the full color and everything are really powerful and very meaningful, especially to a young reader, to be able to put it all in context. So, Willie, you should be very proud of yourself. I know your grandson and your son have got to be incredibly proud of you. And we really appreciate you being here today to talk about your book.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Andrew. And I do have not only is Landon pushing the book, but I have a great team around me, family and friends on my team that is pushing the book as well, and they've done an excellent job in terms of getting it out to the public. The challenge is to get it to people that don't know me and just see the value in the book from all over the United States or all over the world. So
Mhm.
that's the challenge that we have, just to pushing the book out to individuals that don't know me and see the value in the book with their kids, and just having something that they can really enjoy. And I think it'll bring value to kids of that age.
Yeah, well, the people watching this video now will know of you if they did not know of you before.
Hmm.
And that's sort of our goal here, is to bring awareness. My personal goal, and the reason that I do these videos, is to bring awareness to anxiety, to OCD, to any sort of anxiety disorders, and
Yes.
also awareness to resources that could be meaningful and helpful. And this is certainly one of those resources that could be meaningful and helpful to people. So I'm so grateful that you were willing to join me on the podcast today and share all the information that you did. I think it is beyond just the book, just your story, I think is beneficial
Hmm.
for people to hear. So thank you for taking your time. Thank you for being here. And thank you for writing the book.
Oh, absolutely. And good luck to you and your station. It's very important what you're doing. It's great work, and I appreciate that as well.
Well, thank you.